Do you know what FOMO is? I know, it's really, really interesting. Want to know how to use it and the power of social media for your next event and make it a roaring success? Well, stay tuned as we have the number one FOMO expert with us today, and she's going to give you lots of top tips and more.
Happy Friday, Emer, or should I say Happy National Astronaut Day.
Well, I always knew you were a bit of a space cadet, Mr. T.
Up there with the stars. Did you ever want to be an astronaut when you were growing up?
Planet Phillip, isn't it? Is it Planet Phillip, is it?
Best planet in the place. Did you ever want to be an astronaut?
All the fun stuff. Sorry?
Did you ever want to be an astronaut? Fly in a rocket?
Look, there's lots of things I wanted to be, but, had to be realistic,
Because we have our special guest with us, before we give you the introduction, May King, what did you want to be when you were a little girl? Did you always want to be a FOMO creator, or?
I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be an actor. And then I wanted to be a lawyer.
Wow.
Right.
Well, you could be in all singing, dancing, and legal.
Singing, dancing, lawyer, yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I wanted to be? I wanted
my mum said no.
I wanted to be a Canadian Mountie. And I also wanted to be one of the police from Chips. Remember Chips?
Yeah.
The police? Yes. I wanted to wear those boots and be on the Harley Davidson.
Okay, that's too much information. It's in my head now. And that's going to be like with me for the rest of the day. Thanks.
Okay. Moving on.
Ruined it now.
Moving on, quick.
But you're going to say like one of like Starsky and Hutch or something,
Oh, I like that, but maybe, I don't know. Just moving on.
Let's move it on.
Today, Eber, quick.
Oh, if she's still sitting here, she's making a run for it now. She's got her motorbike sitting there ready to go. So on the show today, we are delighted to be joined by the most. She's back, actually.
She is back.
Yeah, she is. The FOMO creator. Maybe she had a bit of FOMO about our show and had to come back. Huh?
Maybe.
Anyway, we'll ask her about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So May King, and you have to call her May King. I don't know. She'd have a little, double barrel-y hyphen. Yeah, hyphen. Yeah.
Hyphen.
So anyway, moving on. She used her expertise and her talents. It's a talent to be able to do what she does, to help conferences, workshops, festivals. Yeah, festivals. I haven't been to one of those in ages. And summits to sell out by generating live social media content, buzz, excitement, and a few laughs, I must add, beyond the four walls of your venue or your field or whatever else you have. She's a whiz at getting hashtags to trend, and she's helped hashtags trend in Australia, Ireland, UK, US, Planet Phillip, and everywhere else. Welcome, May King Tsang.
Let's get social.
How are you?
Yes.
How are you both? It's so good to be back.
It's great to have you back, May King.
God love me, So
yes, it's wonderful to have you back, May King. Definitely check out the previous show that we did a couple of years ago with May King. Loads of great tips on FOMO, and we're going to get more insights with yourself today. And for our listeners, the great thing is that May King is going to be with us for 2 shows. So so
lucky her.
Tune in next week again for part 2, and obviously if you missed any of the previous shows, they're all up on the Let's Get Social Show podcast on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify, and of course the Dublin South FM website.
Yes, indeed. And if video is your thing, then head over to YouTube, because you can catch the 3 of us there. Yeah, we will be there for you to see us, and you can leave a comment, ring that bell, subscribe, and do definitely leave a comment and let us know if there's a question that you aren't too sure about, or you'd like expanded upon, or you'd like us to turn it into a show. You can even message May King and ask her through that with a comment, and we'll pass it on to her. So
exactly,
there you go.
And so I think let's dive in, Emer. Let's put the FOMO expert
you
on
forgot
the
one other
spot.
bit. You forgot.
I did forget, didn't I?
Yeah, the email.
May King, hold that thought.
One of us has to know what we're doing here.
Yes. You see, I've just been, I have fear of missing out on May King's insights that I forgot to say that if you have any ideas for future shows, you can email us on inquiries@dublinsouthfm.ie.
May King, what are you doing for the next 52 weeks? You know, because I think it looks like I need a new partner in crime.
She needs a new partner, so you just can't handle this unprofessionalism.
No. So anyway, one of us has to get on with the show.
Go for it, Emer.
So, May King, before we really deep dive, how are you these days?
Do you know, I'm doing really blooming well. Thank you so much for asking.
Good.
Since the pandemic, we all got a little bit zoomed out, didn't we? A little bit.
Yeah.
And some of us are on the slow recovery. Some of us are recovering faster than others. But I am back on track after a little blip towards the end of last year. But yes, just like everybody, you know, we're all getting back to our normal selves, if not better than ever before. So thank you for asking. I'm doing real well.
Great, because I think we all value, like, you know, we all took things for granted. We were all at different things. Like, remember, we were at the Andrew and Pete event in Newcastle, and, you know, we didn't really think that, holy cow, do you know what I mean? All this happened, and, you know, then you start to appreciate things. And some people appreciate some things more than others. Hint, hint. Mr. C. He does have something for you later. I know that, which I had tried to ban, but on this occasion, I'm going to let him, give it a go. But if anybody wants to know what that is, they have to stay tuned for later. So, King, can I ask you something to get the story and the ball rolling? As when it comes to FOMO, maybe you can explain what that is, and when it comes to events and social media.
Absolutely. So, FOMO, for those of you who are not down with the kids, if you were to Google it, it will tell you that it means the fear of missing out. And in business and for charities, for fundraising, if you've got a cause you want to promote, if you've got a book, product, or service, it's actually a good thing. So if you were to Google it, it will tell you that FOMO means the fear of missing out. It is anxiety that an interesting event that may be happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts seen on social media. And in a personal setting, we've all done it. We've all doom scrolled, and we've had a look, and we've got a little bit jealous of our friends and family. Oh, they've got another car. Oh, they've upgraded the new house. Oh, they've got their new designer dress, or whatever it is. And we feel a little bit sad. But in business, it's a positive thing. We want to get our lurkers, because let's face it, we've all got lurkers on social media, right?
Yeah, right.
We want to get our lurkers so buzzed and excited that they just cannot wait to get into your DMs and work with you, or find out more from you, or take the next, their next step in their journey along with you, no matter where they are on that journey. So I've been creating FOMO for my own business since 2009, actually.
No,
and then
you must have been about 5.
Yeah,
You're about 5 then, weren't you?
No, it's my 50th year this year. Celebrating my 50th.
Jeez,
it's the Chinese genes. What?
It's all the tea.
Yes.
It's all the tea, yes.
You don't look 50, May King, I tell you. So keep doing whatever you're doing. Yeah.
So anyway, I've been creating FOMO since 2009 and been doing it for myself. Then clients are coming on board and saying, can you do that for me as well? And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And so that's what I've been doing for events, for products, for charities, and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, like that kind of happened to me. You know, I started doing social media management, and Philip was doing probably at the same time. And it was just somebody kept coming to me and asking me, "Go show me this and show me that," and you kind of go, "Yeah, okay." And then all of a sudden, you know, and I've done social media at events. Philip, you've done it as well, and it's a fast-paced place to be. Yeah, you can't be drinking too much cups of tea.
No, it's it is a very fast pace of like something that you mentioned there about lurkers making that I just wanted to maybe get your thoughts on is I like definitely within Ireland and like especially on channels like maybe like LinkedIn, I think there's quite a mentality of being a lurker. That's not a bad thing. It's just I suppose that people kind of like to watch
We're
what
all
people are
nosy,
doing.
Philip.
We're all
You're
nosy, but might not necessarily be engaging with content.
Yeah.
Like, do you, from your experience making, do you find that whether it be in different countries or certain industries, is there more lurkers in a particular niche than another niche, or is it kind of across the board, or is there any kind of clues as to channels that might have more lurkers on them, etc.?
That's a great question. And my clients have varied from digital marketing to AI, the maritime industry, young leaders in cricket. So young people in their local cricket club. So it's not strictly to, one particular industry. And there are lurkers across the board. So as you know, Emma, as you know, Philip, we often tell our clients when it comes to social media, it's not about it's not about your fans or your followers. Don't get obsessed with those vanity metrics. But we do need to create content for the lurkers to let them know that when the time is right for them, then they'll get back to us. So, I've delivered FOMO creating for all sorts of manners of industries and different events and non-events and all sorts. And quite often people will say to my client or to myself, "Oh, I've been watching your stuff for a while," and I think one of my clients have been liking my stuff for 2 years. One of my clients saw my stuff of an afternoon and directly wanted to engage with me. So it really varies, but it's all the same across all different industries. I think the point is that we do need to show up. We do need to, create that content that gets our lurkers buzzed and excited so that when the time is right for them, then they'll come into your DMs and say, "I want to find out more about you." So the real piece in order to generate that buzz and excitement, that FOMO, is to create content for the lurkers, like, behind the scenes stuff, showcasing that you are a leader in your field, telling the world about your amazing clients, and how happy they are in the work that you've delivered for them. Don't shy away from that. We need to tell our lurkers that we are really good at what we do, and that will help them to make an informed decision when the time is right for them.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, and it's a good way to lead on to this next question making, because now that sort of, I suppose, we're thankfully out of the COVID lockdown, all of that, more live events are now popping up. We're getting back to
great.
person,
Get out of the house.
Absolutely, it's great to meet people again.
Like
for an event organizer, based on your experience, how can they start to create FOMO for their event?
Well, they need to hire the best.
Absolutely, yes.
Right here, right now. But apart from that,
yes, definitely.
No, seriously. FOMO works alongside your current marketing strategy, and whatever you're doing on social media, on your emails, your newsletters, you're picking up the phone, you're networking, meeting people for coffee or a cup of tea, face to face, whatever it is you're doing, keep doing that, which is amazing. But we need to do a bit more. We need to do a lot more, actually, because the fact that there are lurkers, those lurkers are making an informed decision as to whether they want to purchase from you or not. So you need to get them so buzzed and excited. You want to get them so buzzed and excited that they do not want to miss out. And so I call this a 3-pronged strategy, where you've got in the lead up to the event, that's what I call pre-FOMO. So you need to create some great content that shows people what they're going to be missing out on, showing people behind the scenes of what's involved, to showcase just how much care and attention you as an event organizer has taken to actually develop and create this event. So that's pre-FOMO. And you can definitely create lots of pre-FOMO I've been hired by lots of clients to interview people. That's the best way. It's all well, you as an event organizer telling the world, you should come to my event because it's freaking amazing. But wouldn't it be better if you let people in and let people see a little sneaky peek, a little sneaky insight into what's in store? So interviewing speakers, sponsors, influencers, so people who've attended your event and are back for more, they're all influencers. They have a community across the socials. Interviewing those kind of people and getting those testimonials from people who went to your last event and showcasing that as well. So that forms a big part. Pre-FOMO forms a huge part of trying to get people to buy tickets and get them on the day. And then you've got live FOMO. So this is the bit where you'll have seen me at Andrew and Pete's creating my magic there. And my personal best for a client is I was actually speaking twice. So on day one and also on day two, I also live tweeted. I also went on Facebook Live and also Instagram. So my personal best for that client was 1,376 tweets. And we reached 31 million people across the 2 days. For Andrew and Pete, I created 1,276 tweets for their conference. We reached 28 million people, and we trended on the same day as International Women's Day, number one. Wow. I also did 5 Facebook Lives and about 20 Instagram stories as well. So but not all conferences need all of that. No. I once did a virtual experience, which was an event of 2 hours. And so they wanted just Instagram. So I created, lots of Instagram stories for that particular client. And we interviewed the organizers before in order to get people to buy their tickets. And as a result of the pre-FOMO that I generated, I think I managed to secure 25% of their ticket sales with the campaign that we did on Instagram, and also helped to secure a sponsor for them as well. So the pre-FOMO and the live FOMO is really, really important. Yeah. And as Andrew and Pete will tell you, and which is why they keep hiring me for their conference, the best time to market your next event is at this one's event. What the marketing cycle people have done in the past before social media came about is they would work really, really hard up until the point of the day of the event and promote and try and get tickets sold. And then on the day of the event, it's almost like they breathe a sigh of relief and think, oh, thank goodness that's over.
Yeah.
And then they're really, really knackered. And then, a couple of months later, they'll then pick up the marketing again. And they're absolutely missing out on a trick if they do not market their event at this event for next year, because especially people are already there.
But it's not. And then the great thing about it is it gets people to think about, I must get that on my diary.
Absolutely.
For next year, and so I'll definitely be here. Yeah, because I was at a conference.
It's a captive audience as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I was at a conference there in October, and it was in the US, and you're already in the door, May King, and they were going, are you going to come to next year's? We're having a special discount, blah 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 blah, and I was there going, the door.
No.
So it was just
no.
That wasn't FOMO.
That was like what am I doing?
That was called an arm lock.
You probably had JOMO then, Ema. You probably said no, thanks. I'll have the joy of missing out. Thank you very much.
No mo.
So yes, I mean.
You don't. The only problem was it was the biggest laugh was you don't want to argue with it's the funeral industry, so you don't want to argue with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
Will I be here this time next year?
So there's definitely there's definitely a right way of generating the right kind of buzz and excitement. And yeah, you don't want to put people in a headlock and say, buy my ticket now or else.
Yeah.
That doesn't work
no, they weren't that pushy, but it was just so funny the way they were kept. And I kept thinking, am I at this year's or next year's?
Yeah. That's a different type of
get them to come and talk to me.
I will. I'll get on to you. I'll talk to you later. It's just, people, are all kind of, oh, great. Yeah, let's get ourselves out there. Let's get the event motivated, moving and all the rest. But it comes down to, where's your audience? True. So what platforms do you say are best for getting people in the door?
Whichever your audience is on. I have created FOMO for just Instagram, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
One of my clients just wanted LinkedIn posts. So that's what I did. I listened to the speakers and I created a LinkedIn post for every speaker. And then there are conferences that want absolutely everything. So as I say, I've done Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and going live on YouTube as well.
Do you find I was going to say, do you find with the LinkedIn angle, it would be more in line with anything that's related to like LinkedIn events? Do you think that's where they're leaning towards, or would you say Twitter would be still the king of platforms when it comes to events?
So the reason why Twitter is still the number one for events is that it's very public, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, their API is open so that you can actually generate reports and see who has been lurking on your stuff. Some tweets, you can see how much reach it has and this, that, and the other. With Instagram stories, it's very much contained within the person whose event it is. And although you can search on the hashtag on Instagram, you can't search on the hashtags within the stories, and they disappear in 24 hours unless you save it as a highlight. But you can, search on the hashtags on Instagram posts. With LinkedIn, with the algorithms changing recently, a lot of people do not want to create more than one post a day because they just want to get as many eyeballs onto that post as possible. And so they'll stick to one post a day. So the algorithms change over time, as you know. And that one client who wanted me to create a LinkedIn post for every speaker, that was before the pandemic, so that's quite a while ago. But every speaker were really, really happy, because then they shared it into their own communities. So it kind of gets split out into the 12 speakers, I think it was, I created that day, 12 LinkedIn posts. So just to go back to your question, although Twitter is traditionally the place for for events, but there's no reason why you can't just create FOMO within a community, within a Facebook group, which is what I've done before, or as I say, just within Instagram or just within LinkedIn. But although Twitter is my personal fave, though.
Yeah, I would say the same too for events, because you know what I mean. You can go and see what's trending and whatever else. But although a certain Mr. Musk, it seems to be making changes over the last wee while, and who knows, will it still be the one for events? I'm a bit worried. What do you think, Philip? Or do you think we should be worried?
It's very hard to know. Like, as we discussed with Madeline Sklar, like Elon seems to have ultimate power when it comes to Twitter, and can it looks like it's going to be pay to play the way he's working it. Yeah, well, like as Madeline was telling us, she was telling us, May King, that
not happy.
For a period of 18 hours, he single-handedly turned off Twitter Spaces, because he found out that there was some journalists who were saying bad things about him, and he didn't like it, and they had managed to somehow get into Twitter Spaces. And Madeline runs, I think, 3 different Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
and she lost access. So that's quite interesting. If Elon doesn't like something, he seems to have sole power to say turn it off. So I suppose it's it's a good word of warning, I suppose, on social. And I think something that we all preach is, be mindful not to build all of your community just on a social channel, because Elon or a Mark Zuckerberg could say, it's not working, let's turn it off.
They don't like the Let's Get Social show and we'll be gone.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like just to
that's such a shame for Madeline. I mean, when I run a digital coffee extra shot show that was on a Friday, and it was on Twitter Spaces, and I loved the functionality of Twitter Spaces. It was amazing, way better than Clubhouse.
Yes.
But since Elon has been doing his thing, Amanda and I have actually moved over to LinkedIn Audio.
Nice.
So, and then, as you say, Philip, you don't want to put all of your eggs into the social media basket. So I will be, hopefully, that show and my FOMO Creator show will be hosting it onto a podcast platform very soon. So very excited about that.
So that's great.
Watch this space then, I suppose. Like I've done, not to the extent, obviously, of yourself, May King. I've done live tweeting during a one-day business event. It is hectic, it's either the phone is going or you're on the desktop. Like, with your excellent experience and obviously your expertise, what sort of tips do you tend to give businesses who maybe don't have the luxury to have someone of your skill of FOMO for their event, but top tips for live tweeting to create real engagement? Is there some kind of things or kind of pros that people should focus on?
They definitely need someone who's dedicated, someone dedicated to do the live content creation, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram stories, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever platform it is. Do find someone dedicated, because if you find your your social media manager, for example, to do that, chances are that person will be called away, especially if it's an in-person event. Chances are they'll be called away to do little admin bits and pieces, or maybe a speaker's not happy and they have to go and schmooze them, or lunch hasn't arrived, or all manner of things. So if you do not have someone dedicated, you really do need to do that. That's the first tip. The second tip is to get your audience engaged and get them to, get involved as well. Give them an incentive to get involved. So with many of the conferences and festivals that I have created FOMO for, tell them about the hashtag. Give them an incentive. Maybe they can win a whole host of prizes if they get involved in the hashtag. What is your, if it's a business event, what is your key takeaway from the speakers, and we'll put it into a draw. And but getting your attendees buzzed and excited and getting them to create content for on the socials, that's creating content for your lurkers. And will enable, will get them buzzing excited so that they will definitely buy your ticket for next year. So getting someone dedicated, using that hashtag, and getting your attendees to get really buzzing excited and involved in the hashtag as well. But you need to give them an incentive to do that, otherwise they won't do that at all.
True.
Yeah, it makes huge sense.
A prize idea is a good idea, because then people are all kind of, I'd love to win that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could May King, we could put Philip up as a prize, couldn't we? And they get to spend a day with Philip.
It'd be a marvelous prize. It'd be a marvelous prize. I could take you through my hair routine, skin moisturizer. Teach her to cook the odd corner.
Oh, maybe it's not a good idea. Oh, well, anyway. So apart from that, like the old hashtag is centered to any kind of online event, because you need to have a branded one. You need to have one that no one else uses. Wouldn't I be right, May King? Because you don't want to use one that could contradict what you're doing. That way you have to go in and research a hashtag for your event. Would I be right?
Absolutely. I often crack a joke that with the Black Lives Matter, it was such a powerful movement. And the first time I saw the hashtag All Lives Matter, I was thought, yeah, damn right it is. And I was going to get involved in it, and then I looked at the tweets associated with All Lives Matter, and it was from a far right group. So can you imagine if I'd have said, oh yeah,
you're in the party.
You're out.
Yeah, so you go and you double check.
So absolutely. And also the way that your hashtag is written as well, definitely check to see whether it reads well, and not in the way that you read it, but check with someone else that it does read well. Otherwise you might have to capitalize each word just to make it distinctive, because there are famous hashtags that do not read the way that we actually want them to read.
It was the famous one, wasn't there? May King with Susan Boyle, wasn't there? The Susan Boyle album launch.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes,
and that came across completely different.
Well, and Philip, I forgot about that one.
I forgot. We couldn't put it on air, but it was. It was like.
But I catch him out.
It was.
Wasn't going to mention that one, but yes.
She's blushing again now.
That's a fairly famous one. Definitely, you can look that up yourselves, listeners online.
So, how would you go about creating a hashtag strategy then? Making then for an event, so that really kind of just
tell people about it. Yeah, just tell people about it. Tell people how to write it. So, we've mentioned Andrew and Pete a couple of times. They have a conference every year called Atomicon. And they do this at the start of their conference, where they will tell people how to write it, just to make sure, and they don't want, different variations of it. So I would, encourage people to use it, make sure people write it in the correct way. Tell all your speakers, your sponsors, your attendees, when you're emailing your newsletter, your database list, then reminding them, and on your stories, the way that you put on social media, just keep telling people about it.
And actually, if you're having an annual event, it's a good idea then to have the year at the end, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Some conferences don't, because they don't mind that last year's social media post run into this year's. But to make it distinctive from last year, some people like to use the year. But of course, you need to let your attendees know whether you're going to use 2023 or just 23. That kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. I remember I was at an event. Philip actually was doing the social media. I was going past going. The head was there. Don't talk to me.
I haven't got time to talk to you, Go away.
I'm heading down to have dinner, and he goes, "The hell did she get away with that?" I'm sitting up here.
She's off down at the table having wine at dinner. How you doing, Philip?
That's my grey hair. Talk to the hound. Except dinner.
I actually think that's one of the most valuable pieces to let people know about is definitely the hashtag and making sure they use the right one. So,
like, based on your experience, May King, just before we start to kind of wind to a close, you've made hashtags trend extremely well across multiple countries. Like, from your experience, is a question that myself and Emer get asked a lot is, is there an ideal hashtag length? Do you find that to try and keep it
short and sweet,
concise, short and sweet, or does it really matter? But that really needs to make it easy for people to remember, so that they will go to the bother of typing it or putting it in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense to make it short and sweet. There is that dilemma, though, of whether you initialize it or whether you use, the words. So, sometimes, I was speaking at a conference in Edinburgh earlier this year, Adventures in Marketing, and they were in that dilemma of whether to call it Adventures 23 or AIM, Adventures in Marketing 23. And in the end, they decided for AIM 23. And in fact, because it spells AIM 23, it's quite cool.
Sense.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. But for some, some conferences and events, like TPG 23 might not sound as sexy as AIM.
Yeah.
So there's that sort of a little bit of a dilemma. And then, of course, with Twitter, you do have the limitation of, well, it's not really limiting. You can write quite a lot in 208 characters. But yeah, there is no sweet spot of how long it should be. But we do, as I say, it can pique interest if you have one that is HZ2 23 or whatever it is. But will people think, what's this, and click on it to find out more, or will they be put off by a word that's not there? So that's the only slight dilemma. But I mean, as I say, if you make sure that everyone uses it, then hopefully it will create so much buzz and excitement, and people will read the tweet or read the Instagram story or Facebook post or whatever, and then click on the hashtag to find out more and see all the other posts. So don't be too bogged down with the length or the name or the hashtag. Just be make sure you have someone dedicated to create that live content for you, and also give your attendees, speakers and sponsors the incentive to get involved in that hashtag as well, so that you can really create that buzz and excitement across the socials.
There you
Very
go.
Good.
Lots more to come now.
We've nearly come to a close.
I know.
It was a very fast. Emer, you did say that I was going to.
Yeah.
This show give May King a surprise, and here is one of the best jokes.
Hands over my ears.
One of the best jokes you're ever going to hear, May King. This will be one for your next conference. So I'm going to lay this on you, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. What do you get when you cross an angry sheep with an angry cow?
An English sheep with an angry cow.
An angry sheep.
I don't know, Philip.
You get.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
You get two animals in a bad mood.
Here, that's the worst one I've heard all year off you. Where did you dig that one up?
And the award.
Oh, the award
for the best dad joke.
Here.
Love it, Philip.
Wait, Philip, go back to the ones you said about the Christian Hull show. I think it's episode 43. How do I know that?
Yes, because you're a statistician, Emer, so you're the stats girl.
I remember that was he just kept bringing them out, that way. And Christian Hull nearly just fell off his chair. Like, it was just like, he was like, where is he getting them from? And I went, I do not know.
Very funny.
There you go. But anyway, as they say, part 1 was fantastic, but I know part 2 is going to be even more fabulous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So May King, thank you. It's been a fantastic first show. And to the listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, you can catch it again on the podcast, which will be up on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, and of course on the Dublin South FM website.
If video is your thing and you want to sort of ring our bell, if you hit the bell on our YouTube channel, then you will not miss part 1 or part 2. And as I say, you'll get notifications. Please subscribe, because come join us. We will entertain you and keep you motivated, and there'll be no fear of missing out, as they say.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to throw that in. So catch us on YouTube and you'll be able to see us and hear us. And do leave a comment if you would like us to cover a topic, or we can send the message over to May King. May King, where can people find you?
You can find me on all the socials. As a FOMO creator, although I am on Twitter as Making Tea. That's MAYKINGTEA. If you do want to catch more information on my website, you can do that at 2, which is on FOMOcreator.social.
So there you go.
And before we go, you are launching something a bit special, aren't you, May King? Is it like the FOMO hour, your FOMO surprise?
Yeah.
Yes, I've got a FOMO hour surprise.
The FOMO hour surprise.
Oh, I definitely must have missed that.
It's a FOMO hour. It's a FOMO hour surprise because you don't get an hour, you get 90 minutes with me. How cool is that? So we will go through who you are, your business. We will have a quick review of what you're currently doing on the socials, and then we will give you a full-blown strategy, a FOMO strategy on how to create buzz and excitement to help sell out your next event. So do go and have a look at that.
Check that out.
Yes, indeed.
And the final thing to wrap up is if you do have any ideas for future shows or you want to learn more about FOMO or any of the previous topics we've covered, drop us an email to inquiries@dublinsouthfm.ie.
And we'll see you for part 2.
Yes, we will.
Next week.
So thanks again, May King, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.